is 6:30. I would call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Tuesday, December 21st. We do have a quorum present. The first item on the agenda is to consider the minutes of the December 7th, 2021 joint meeting with the Overlay District Board. If there are no additions or corrections, may I have a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Motion by Karen.
Second.
Second by Aram.
Sorry, one moment.
Vote now. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is 2 public hearings for plats. The first public hearing is the final plat of Discovery at the Realm Edition, Phase 1, Block A, Lots 3 and 4, on 1.367 acres out of the Amos Singleton Survey, Abstract 1138, with a temporary zoning of multifamily 3, located at 3600 Windhaven Parkway, being a replat of Discovery at the Realm Edition, Phase 1, Block A, Lot 2R-2.
Good evening, Commissioners. This replat is to just divide an existing lot into 2 lots. Staff has reviewed it and found some deficiencies. Our recommendation tonight is disapproval of the final plat due to the listed deficiencies and delegate to staff authority to approve when the deficiencies are corrected.
Thank you, Michelle. Commissioners, are there any questions for staff on this item? Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to disapprove the final plat due to the listed deficiencies and delegate to the staff authority to approve when these deficiencies are corrected.
Motion by Francis.
Second.
Second by Aram. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0. Next one is a final plat of Castle Hills Phase 10 on 76.96 acres out of the B Schoonover Survey, Abstract number 1209, and the A Singleton Survey, Abstract number 1138, with temporary zoning of estate townhome and townhouse 2, located south of Windhaven Parkway, north of Parker Road, and on the east and west sides of Lady Tesla Drive, being a replat of Castle Hills Phase 10.
Good evening, Commissioners. Just to give you a little bit of background, the purpose of this request was to rename a street. They had originally named it Caliburn Court, and now they've decided to extend Essex Drive so that Caliburn Court and Essex Drive will be one street. There are no homes or anything as of yet built on Caliburn Court, so they'd like to rename it to Essex Drive so that it's continuous. However, they submitted the amending plat. It contains all the lots within the subdivision, many of which are sold and under single-family ownership. So we're asking them to revise this plat to just include the street right-of-way and the lots that front the street as a replat. So our recommendation tonight is to disapprove the final plat due to the listed deficiencies and delegate to staff authority to approve when deficiencies are corrected.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing on this item. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward, state your name, sign in. Having no one come forward, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, is there any discussion, questions? If not, may I have a motion, please?
I move to disapprove the final plat due to listed deficiencies and delegate to staff authority to approve once those deficiencies are corrected.
Second.
Motion by Aram, second by Jordan. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Commissioners. No further action will be needed on either of these plats.
Okay. Next item is a public hearing for zoning and special use permits. This is a public hearing for the consideration of a zone change request from public use district to office district on approximately 1.269 acres, legally described as Lot 2R, Block A, Central Elementary Addition, located at 701 South Charles Street, as requested by Benny Jafarhi, TSMJV LLC, the property owner.
Good evening, Commission. Lewisville Independent School District previously owned this property and used it as an office. The new property owner and applicant would like to continue to use this property as an office, but as they are not a public entity, cannot use the PU zoning. They are proposing to zone this as office district, which is one of Lewisville's most restrictive commercial districts, and will allow it to continue use as an office. I'm happy to answer any questions. The applicant is here tonight as well.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff? Okay, at this time, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this item, please come forward, state your name, and sign in. Having no one come forward, I will go ahead now and close the public hearing. Commissioners, is there any discussion? No? May I have a motion then, please?
I make a motion to approve of the requested zone change to the City Council.
Motion by Francis.
Second.
Second by Karen. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Commission. This item will be appearing before City Council on January 3rd for a second and final public hearing.
Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, our final public hearing for tonight is the consideration of a zone change request from temporary zoning classification of agricultural open space, single-family residential, town estate single-family residential, estate townhouse residential, townhouse 2 residential, multi-family 3, local commercial, general business 2, and light industrial zoning. 2, planned development, single-family residential district. Zoning plan development, townhouse estate, single-family residential district. Planned development, estate, townhouse, district zoning. Planned development, townhouse. 2, residential district zoning. Planned development, multifamily. 3, residential district zoning. Planned development, local commercial district zoning. Planned development, general business district zoning. Planned development, general business 2 district zoning. And planned development, mixed use district zoning on an approximately 2.568.38 acre tract of land out of the James Dooley Survey, abstract number 343, the Haynes and Bullion Survey, abstract number 621, and the Peyton R. Splain Survey, abstract number 1218, and part of the Horatio Groom Survey, abstract number 440, the R. Hensworth Survey, abstract number 578, the W.J. Bonner Survey, abstract number 122, the W.C. Cantwell Survey, abstract number 293, the J.T. Sherrod Survey, abstract number 1691, the B.F. Draper Survey, abstract number 367, the H. Young Survey, abstract number 1448, the J.E. McWhorter Survey, abstract number 1690, the S.M. Hayden Survey, abstract number 537, the BBB and CRR Survey, abstract number 180, the Amos Singleton Survey, abstract 1138, the B. Schoonover Survey, abstract number 1209, the T. Wilson Survey, abstract number 1352, the J. B. Ships Survey, abstract number 1227, the BBB and CRR Survey, abstract number 173, the David Cook Survey, abstract number 234, the R. Hardin Survey, abstract number 613, the Horatio Groom Survey, abstract number 441, and the W. Sparks Survey, abstract number 1201, generally located south of the Sam Rayburn Tollway and State Highway 121 business, north of Hebron Parkway, and on the east and west sides of Josie Lane, as requested by the City of Lewisville, the applicant. This is case number 21-06-2PZ.
Good evening, Commissioners. That was probably one of the longest captions I believe we've ever had.
I think so.
Thank you for getting through that. And it's probably one of this, I'm sure, is one of the largest zone change cases that we have ever handled. I've got a brief presentation to try to hit the high points of a very, very complex process. So with that, I'm going to start off with just a little bit of background regarding Castle Hills. Prior to annexation, Castle Hills did not have zoning, but it developed in accordance with zoning designations listed on Platts and under the provisions of the original 1996 development agreement between the city and the developer, and also various council-approved variances that have occurred over the last 25 years, including larger variance packages for the Realm in 2014 and also for Crown Center in 2020. Once the city annexed on November 15th of this year, all the properties within Castle Hills received temporary zoning classifications that reflected the zoning designations listed on plats for platted properties. So that means pretty much everything that has been developed over the last 25 years has a temporary zoning, which is based on that designation on their plat. Anything that's unplatted received temporary agricultural open space zoning. And that temporary zoning is only good for 60 days. State law and the City Code of Ordinances requires that we assign permanent zoning within 60 days. So we will need to have that done by January the 15th. So since August 21st, staff has been working with consultants and the developer to create a customized planned development district ordinance to provide permanent zoning for Castle Hills. So really the goals of this planned development is to incorporate all the provisions of the 1996 agreement, all the variances that I mentioned earlier, and the 1996 General Development Ordinance. That was specified in the original development agreement that Castle Hills would develop under the standards of that General Development Ordinance from 1996. One of the other big goals is to ensure that permanent zoning is tailored to match the existing development, to ensure that future development is compatible and consistent with surrounding existing development. We also incorporated the SUP process for more intense uses like automotive uses. And just to back up a little bit more too, and for the benefit of those out in the audience, planned development zoning is really a tailor-made, customized zoning district for a particular site. And it's very common for a master plan community like Castle Hills to have planned development zoning because it is highly customized for the conditions on that property. And that's even more so important in this situation since we already have so much development on the ground that developed in a certain way with a certain character. So to preserve that, the planned development zoning is the best way to basically capture that and make sure that that stays in place moving forward. So this next slide has an outline of the PD. There's primarily 8 sections. The first section is just the outlines of project location and establishes 3 subdistricts. Section 2 deals with administration of the zoning. And then 3, 4, and 5 are the 3 subdistricts: the Castle Hills primary subdistrict, the Crown Center subdistrict, and the Realm subdistrict. And then Section 6 deals with public and private improvements. That's kind of the development standard, so to speak. That incorporates the 1996 General Development Ordinance that I mentioned earlier and all of the variances. And it's basically focusing on 3 areas: public infrastructure improvements, primarily streets, water, sewer, and drainage improvements, landscaping requirements, screening devices, and off-street parking loading requirements. Section 7 is definitions, and then the final section is a list of exhibits. This chart summarizes the base districts. So all PDs have to have a base zoning district from our zoning ordinance that they most closely resemble. So at the 3 columns represent the 3 sub-districts within Castle Hills. As you can see, the Castle Hills primary is by far the largest district, and that represents most of the existing developed areas of Castle Hills. Then, of course, the middle column is the Crown Center sub-district, which is just in the very early stages of being developed. And then we have the Realm in the final, in the right-hand column. And it's partially developed. It's probably about halfway developed. And that's an area, and we'll show, I'll be showing you some maps that show the location of each one of these. But as you can see, the Castle Hills primary has most of the variety of residential-based zoning districts. Crown Center is primarily mixed use, and then the Realm just has 5 of the base districts listed here. This slide covers some of the major modifications that have been incorporated into the plan development. The first one is the elimination of the light industrial district as a base zoning district. Most of the uses that developed with that zoning designation were truly more general business type uses, so we went ahead and rectified that in the base zoning. We also did a slight expansion to the Realm subdistrict to include the Kroger Marketplace development, since it is really fairly seamlessly developed along with the Realm, so we felt it was very prudent to go ahead and include that. It does have some undeveloped land on the west side of the center between the recently completed 9-story office building and the Kroger that will be included in the Realm. We also made a change by incorporating a minimum 400 square foot multifamily unit dwelling size for up to 10% of a project if that average dwelling unit, or if the average dwelling unit size of 700 square feet is maintained. That applies only to Crown Center and the Realm. And then finally, allowance was built in for a planned self-storage facility on Windhaven Parkway behind the Kroger Marketplace with conditions. Any other self-storage facilities will require approval of a special use permit prior to development. This is a map that shows all of the sub-districts for all of Castle Hills, and it shows how those base districts kind of line up. As you can see, the turquoise green on the far right, that is Crown Center, and then the yellow and oranges are the more residential districts. The reds are the general business and general business 2 districts. The browns are the multifamily 3, and then that kind of purplish tan color is the estate townhome district, base district. Now I'd like to share with you the locations of and the concept plans of the sub-district. So this is the Castle Hills primary sub-district concept plan. Like I said, it truly reflects what has been built on the ground. It is pretty much all of Castle Hills with the exception of the Realm sub-district area, which is kind of upper center portion of the map, and then the far left side is the Castle Hill, or the Crown Center sub-district. And moving on, we have the, oops, went a little bit too quick. The next one is the Crown Center sub-district concept plan. And this is, like I said, primarily a more walkable, mixed-use urban environment on the west side of the Sam Rayburn Tollway. That package of variances were approved by the City Council earlier this year, or actually in January 2020, and are basically built into the plan development. And then this is the concept plan for the Realm sub-district. The PD also features an open space plan, and this plan designates a public parkland and then private open space. So the 2 different colors distinguish between the 2. This is primarily the adoption schedule of the plan development. It kind of kicked off on December the 2nd when we sent our public hearing notice letter that we have to send to all property owners within the boundary of the zone change and 200 feet beyond. That was sent to a third-party printing and mailing service on the 2nd. And then on Monday, December the 6th, we gave this same presentation to the City Council as part of their workshop session. On Friday the 10th, that 200-foot letter was mailed out to the 4,200 property owners, probably one of the largest mail-outs that we have ever done. Then on Monday the 13th, we submitted the council public hearing notice to the newspaper, and that appeared last Friday on the 17th. And of course, Tuesday the 21st is where we are at right now with the public hearing before the P&Z, and then the final public hearing before the City Council will be on Monday, January 3rd, where they will be taking final action. We also created a web page that went live on December the 9th at cityoflewisville.com/special projects. We had some, we started out with some basic bullet statements with the public hearing notice, dates, and just kind of the brief goals of the plan development. We had a link to a map where residents could look up their property and determine what their base zoning district is. We also had the actual document, which I think was well over 270 pages. There was a link to that document along with copies of both notices. Then we also had a white paper at the bottom. I think you had to slide a button, and that was a white paper that we modified, but it was originally presented earlier this year to the Education Committee at Castle Hills, and it goes into great detail in layman's terms describing what is zoning, what is a plan development, how does it apply to Castle Hills, how does it impact homeowners, how does it impact business owners, and so forth. So it's about a 3 or 4 page paper that goes step by step in explaining things. So we believe that's been very helpful in helping all of the residents in Castle Hills kind of understand what this process means. And with that, just a couple other things I do want to mention. We did receive a few phone calls from residents out in Castle Hills. Probably the biggest concern or question was, will this zoning impact or raise taxes? And the answer to that is no. This zoning really has nothing to do with the appraisals or the taxes. The Denton Central Appraisal District, they maintain a complete and separate land use classification system. They do not recognize our zoning. They have their own when they are appraising properties. So this will have no impact on appraisals or taxes. There is one correction that we will need to make that you'll need to include in your motion. And it actually involves, we had one paragraph that was in the wrong sub-district. So the item that currently appears in section Roman numeral 5E2 will need to be moved to Roman numeral 3D2. So if you'll just note that correction in your motion. That paragraph deals with driveways on a segment of Lady of the Lake Boulevard.
Repeat that, please.
Okay, we'll be moving the language in Roman numeral 5E2. That will be moved to Roman numeral 3D2.
D is in dog.
D is in dog.
Thank you.
And with that, that concludes my presentation. I would be glad to answer any questions before you open the public hearing.
We'll open the public hearing for you in just a second. This is just for commissioners at this time. Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff? Guess not.
Okay.
I commend you. It's a wonderful project.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, at this time, I'll open up the public hearing, and anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward, state your name, and sign in.
My name is Patrick Klingle-Beckinger. I'm living in Castle Hills. I'm referring to one of your statements where you say the zoning change has no impact on the tax which we might have to pay. I'm wondering if that is actually true, because if the zoning differs significantly from what Denton County thinks, let's say, my street is supposed to be, and let's say there's a business next to me opening because of the different zoning, obviously the value of my home goes down or changes. In this case, it would be less taxes. But if something else in the opposite direction would happen, obviously my taxes would change, or there's high probability that they will change. So can you comment on that, please?
Richard, can you address that?
Yes, Mary Ellen. The appraisal district's process will be the exact same as it was before annexation, or it'll be the same after annexation as it was before annexation. This zoning designation, the city zoning designation, has no impact on the appraisal district's process. They are another way of looking at it, they are a different level, an independent level of government apart from the city. So they do not recognize our zoning. They only look at what's on the ground and utilize the same elements that they used on a property prior to annexation. So the fact that it's in the city does not really impact it, nor does the zoning that we classify. The zoning, like I said, is really the zoning is paired with as how we implement our code of ordinances. And it does not relate at all to what the appraisal district does in their process.
I don't question whether the process will change. I believe that it's going to be the same what Denton does, independent of what Lewisville has changed or added to as a zoning. My question is, if my zoning, because of what we do today, changes in the way that my house becomes more valuable, or that something can be built next to me or on my street, which raises the price of value of my home. On one side, I'm happy, but it also will change the taxation of my property, not because of the process, but because of what you just said, what is on the ground. If our zoning, the zoning what is proposed here, changes what can be built next to me, it will change what is on the ground, and that will be used by Denton County in its appraisal process, which will not change, because the process is not changing. What is on the ground has changed, or is allowed to change because of the zoning what we do today.
I can address as far as most of the single-family residential neighborhoods, they were developed with a zoning designation, like it's usually one of three. It was either the R12, residential 12,000 square foot lots, the ETH, or the, which is a estate townhome, or the town estate residential district. So none of those have changed. It just becomes a base district. And that, like I said, the appraisal district does not even recognize those. They do not factor that into their appraisals or their process. And again, we did not change any base zone from what was already developed. So like I said, there was very, very few changes. Most of that occurred up at the Realm by Kroger. Really, most of the existing neighborhoods are reflecting exactly how they originally developed. And I would be glad to, if there's additional questions, I can meet individually with this gentleman after the meeting if need be.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? Okay, having no one come forward, I'll go ahead now and close the public hearing. Commissioners, is there any discussion? No? If not, then may I please have a motion?
I recommend approval of the proposed zone changes to the City Council with the correction presented by staff, which is Roman numeral 5, E2. The language should be moved to Roman numeral 3, D2. Did I say that correctly?
That is correct.
Okay.
Motion by Aaron.
Second.
Second by, I've got Francis on here.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. It's okay.
Go ahead, Terry. We'll go with Francis.
It's okay.
And vote now. And the motion passes 5-0.
Chairman Mixa, this item will go to the City Council on Monday, January the 3rd, 2022, for a second public hearing and a final decision.
Thank you, Richard. Okay, the next item on the agenda is announcements, if we have any this evening.
I have no announcements. I just want to wish everyone a happy holidays, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thank you. Same back to you.
Same to you.
Okay, then the final item is adjournment. May I have a motion, please?
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Aram.
Second.
Second by Jordan. Vote now. And we are adjourned. Motion passes 5-0.
See y'all next year.